Corporate culture refers to the shared values, beliefs, behaviors, norms, leadership practices, and organizational assumptions that shape how employees think, make decisions, collaborate, and perform within an organization. Often described as the way things are done around here, corporate culture influences every aspect of organizational performance, including innovation, customer service, ethical behavior, employee engagement, strategic execution, and long-term competitiveness. For modern chief financial officers, CFOs, corporate culture is no longer viewed solely as a human resources concern but as a strategic asset that directly affects financial performance, organizational resilience, governance quality, and enterprise value creation. Leading executive CFO programs emphasize that finance leaders play a vital role in shaping, reinforcing, and measuring organizational culture as part of enterprise leadership and transformation. In today's rapidly changing business environment, organizations face continuous disruption from digital transformation, artificial intelligence, globalization, geopolitical uncertainty, sustainability expectations, and evolving workforce demographics. While technology and strategy can be replicated, organizational culture often becomes a unique source of sustainable competitive advantage. A strong culture aligns employee behavior with corporate strategy, accelerates innovation, strengthens governance, and enables organizations to adapt successfully to change. Corporate culture is fundamentally shaped by leadership behavior. Executive leaders establish organizational values through their decisions, communication, priorities, resource allocation, and personal conduct. Employees observe leadership actions more closely than formal mission statements or policies, making executive behavior the strongest influence on organizational culture. CFOs contribute significantly by promoting financial integrity, accountability, transparency, collaboration, and disciplined decision-making while demonstrating ethical leadership that reinforces organizational values. One widely accepted framework for understanding corporate culture identifies 4 essential cultural dimensions: purpose, adaptability, consistency, and involvement. Purpose provides organizational direction and meaning by connecting individual contributions to broader strategic objectives. Adaptability encourages innovation and responsiveness to changing market conditions. Consistency promotes shared values and governance standards that strengthen coordination and trust, while involvement empowers employees through collaboration, participation, and continuous learning. High-performing organizations balance these dimensions to create cultures that support both stability and transformation. Corporate culture directly influences organizational strategy execution. Even the most sophisticated strategic plans may fail if organizational behaviors do not support implementation. For example, digital transformation requires cultures that embrace experimentation, learning, collaboration, and innovation rather than risk avoidance and functional silos. CFOs reinforce strategic culture by aligning investment decisions, budgeting processes, performance management systems, incentives, and governance mechanisms with organizational priorities and transformation objectives. An important characteristic of healthy corporate culture is psychological safety, where employees feel comfortable sharing ideas, challenging assumptions, reporting risks, and admitting mistakes without fear of punishment. Organizations that encourage open dialogue and constructive challenge generally achieve higher levels of innovation, better decision-making, and stronger enterprise risk management. Finance leaders contribute by fostering transparent communication, objective analysis, ethical reporting, and evidence-based decision-making that strengthen organizational trust and accountability. Corporate culture also plays a central role in enterprise governance and ethical leadership. Internal controls, compliance systems, and governance policies are effective only when supported by ethical organizational behaviors. CFOs oversee financial reporting, internal controls, risk management, and regulatory compliance while reinforcing values of integrity, honesty, and professional responsibility. Strong ethical cultures reduce fraud, misconduct, reputational risk, and governance failures while strengthening investor confidence and stakeholder trust. Digital transformation is reshaping corporate culture across industries. Artificial intelligence, automation, cloud technologies, data analytics, remote work, and digital collaboration platforms require organizations to become more agile, innovative, and technology-oriented. Finance leaders support digital cultural transformation by encouraging data-driven decision-making, continuous learning, digital literacy, cross-functional collaboration, and adaptive leadership while ensuring governance frameworks evolve alongside technological change. Talent management and leadership development are closely connected to corporate culture. Organizations that invest in employee growth, coaching, diversity, inclusion, and leadership succession create cultures that attract and retain high-performing talent. CFOs increasingly recognize that human capital investments generate long-term enterprise value through improved productivity, innovation, engagement, and organizational resilience. Leadership development programs reinforce cultural values while preparing future executives to sustain organizational success. Corporate culture significantly influences organizational transformation and change management. Mergers and acquisitions, restructuring initiatives, sustainability transitions, globalization, and business model innovation often require substantial cultural adaptation. Resistance to change frequently reflects cultural rather than technical barriers. Executive leaders therefore communicate transformation vision, reinforce desired behaviors, align incentive systems, and model collaborative leadership that encourages organizational adaptation. CFOs support these efforts through investment governance, strategic communication, performance measurement, and financial transparency that strengthen transformation credibility.
Environmental, social, and governance (ESG) priorities have further elevated the importance of corporate culture. Investors increasingly evaluate organizations based on ethical leadership, diversity and inclusion, employee engagement, sustainability commitment, stakeholder relationships, and responsible governance alongside financial performance. CFOs integrate ESG metrics into enterprise reporting and strategic planning while promoting cultures that support sustainable value creation and long-term stakeholder trust. Measuring corporate culture has become increasingly data-driven. Organizations utilize employee engagement surveys, leadership assessments, turnover rates, ethics reporting, diversity indicators, innovation metrics, customer satisfaction, and performance dashboards to monitor cultural health and identify improvement opportunities. Finance leaders integrate these non-financial indicators with financial performance metrics to evaluate organizational capability and long-term strategic success. Ultimately, corporate culture is not static, but evolves continuously through leadership decisions, organizational experiences, external pressures, and strategic transformation. Successful organizations intentionally shape culture through governance systems, leadership behavior, talent development, communication, incentives, and shared purpose that align organizational behavior with long-term strategic objectives. The Global Competency Framework identifies leadership, ethical behavior, communication, stakeholder management, organizational transformation, people management, governance, strategic thinking, and business partnering as essential competencies for executive finance professionals. Modern CFOs are expected to strengthen organizational culture through ethical leadership, financial stewardship, talent development, governance excellence, and enterprise-wide collaboration that supports sustainable value creation and organizational resilience. In today's knowledge-driven and digitally transforming economy, corporate culture has become one of the most valuable and tangible assets an organization possesses. Companies whose CFOs actively cultivate cultures of integrity, innovation, collaboration, accountability, and continuous learning are better positioned to accelerate transformation, attract exceptional talent, strengthen governance, enhance stakeholder trust, and achieve sustainable long-term enterprise value creation.